Most wars are fought over land, glory, honor, but sometimes there are wars that are fought over small and unimportant things. Here is 10 most interesting wars. 1. The Anglo-Zanzibar War. The UK and Zanzibar fought in the Anglo-Zanzibar War in 1896. It is the shortest war in history. It was about 40 minutes long. The army of Zanzibar lost about 500 people, while the enemy only had 1 person hurt. The British won the war by bombarding their opponents' bases and boats, which took away their ability to fight back. After 40 minutes, the British won the war. 2. The War of Jenkins' Ear. As you might guess from the strange name, this war was caused by a very specific thing: a person's ear. In 1731, when Captain Robert Jenkins lost an ear, this led to the start of a war. The war didn't start for another 8 years, but the first sign of trouble was when Jenkins's ear fell off. Britain was hurt and lost about 4 times as much as their Spanish opponents. 3. The Pig War was started by a very strange reason. In 1859, a pig was shot, which started a war between the United States and Great Britain. Why did they shoot the pig? Well, they were on Lyman Cutler's private property, so he chose to put an end to it right then. After he and the owner of the pig had some back and forth, the British threatened to arrest Cutler. The United States then sent forces to protect Cutler, which made things even worse. In short, even though the war went on for several days, no one was hurt. Both sides have been told to wait until the other side shoots before they do. Soldiers did that, so the only one hurt in the whole thing was the pig. 4. The Transnistria War. This small war in Transnistria in 1992 is also called the Drunken War. During the day, the troops were fighting, but as night fell, they put down their weapons and went for a drink with each other. During the day, the same people who killed each other often drank together at night. During the 4-month fight, about 200 people were killed and many more were hurt. 5. The Great War in Paraguay was the deadliest war in Latin American history, with an estimated 400,000 people killed over the course of 6 years. Francisco Solano Lopez went to war with Brazil. Brazil was in a group with neighboring countries Colombia and Uruguay, which was bad for him and his country. About 70% of the male population died in the fighting. Lopez thought that there was a threat to the balance of power in the area, and he chose to deal with it by attacking 3 of his much more powerful neighbors. This was a strange reason for war. 6. The Second Italo-Ethiopian War was between Italy and Ethiopia in 1935 and 1936. It was one of the most one-sided wars ever. There were more than 1 million troops in the Italian army. They were armed with machine guns, a few hundred tanks, modern assault weapons, and motorized transportation vehicles. On the other hand, 500,000 Ethiopians had guns that were 100 years old, and some of them even had spears and bows. They got around by riding in carts pulled by horses. While Italy had hundreds of tanks and planes, Ethiopia only had 4 tanks, 7 armored cars, and 13 planes. Obviously, they lost. 7. The War of the Stray Dog. A crisis that happened between Greece and Bulgaria in 1925 is sometimes called the War of the Stray Dog because of an idea about how it started. The dog of a Greek soldier ran across the border, and another soldier ran after it to try to catch it. When the Bulgarian border guards saw that, they shot the soldier, which started the war. 121 Greek soldiers died, and 50 Bulgarians, mostly citizens. 8. The Great Emu War took place in 1932. In November and December of 1932, Aussies fought, emus. Several thousand emus showed up on farms in Australia and destroyed the crops. After several failed ambushes, the Australians only killed a few hundred emus and used about 2,500 rounds of machine gun ammunition. Soon after, the army pulled back and the emus attacked again. Again, the army stepped in and used 9,860 shots to kill 986 emus, which means it took exactly 10 rounds per kill. During the next few decades, farmers asked for help several times, but were turned down each time. The war against emus was lost. 9. 355-Year War. The war that went on for 355 years was the longest in history. The war between the Netherlands and Sicily went for 355 years, but no one died because it never happened. The war began in 1651 and ended in 1986. Long story short, the war was declared for political reasons, and it was forgotten for hundreds of years until peace was publicly declared in 1986. 10. The Falkland War is one of the strangest. Great Britain and Argentina fought over two small islands in the South Atlantic. The reason the British protected the islands was because they didn't want to lose their power in the seas. The 2-month war did affect both countries, and many books, movies, and songs are about it.